my Crystal Loves Texas podcast family. We got the family back. Rebecca is here. Yeah. Rebecca has been out for about the last 3 weeks. Rebecca, she went on her family reunion, and then she was out a couple of weeks taking care of some things. And Rebecca is back now. I wish I had an applause track. I wish I had an applause track. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We've got quite a show for you tonight. If you know one thing about us on the Crystal Loves Texas podcast, we are about education and educators doing their thing. And that is what we're highlighting tonight, because when educators leave the classroom, they're on a trajectory that's one way, okay? And that's up. So teachers, I especially reached out to teachers for this particular podcast today, because we have a former teacher, HISD teacher, okay, who is here, and she decided not to write her dreams down in a book. I mean, on a piece of paper. She wrote them in a book, and she decided to live them out. And I'm going to let her introduce herself tonight, because she's going to be an inspiration for all of us. She might even inspire herself a little bit by the time she finishes. But introduce yourself to us, Dr. Aurelia.
Hello, so I am Dr. Aurelia Johnson. I was born and raised in Sunnyside, Houston, Texas. Product of Worthing High School. I went to Sunnyside Elementary when it was called that.
Yes.
It was called Young Elementary.
Yes.
I taught, ended up moving back into the neighborhood in a way, because I taught at Addicts Middle School. Two children got out of teaching, taught from 6th grade to college, wrote this book of my experiences in being in county government, and so here I am now.
Okay, well, first of all, you got to tell us this. How did you make that jump from the classroom to county government? Because this is you may end up mentoring this one, because that's the jump that she's trying to make in a few years. That's the direction she wants to go in. She wants to impact people's lives like you've done.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Okay.
I'm looking at the book.
Yes.
Okay.
So wait, before we get into that, we have to do a connection.
Yes, we do.
So
yes, we do.
Not only did Aurelia go to Worthing, we were in a high school sorority, Ladies of Essex, and she, for those of you who are not familiar with Greek terms, she was like my profile. She brought me in. Yes. And she was so super hard on me. Yeah, but I think I was one of her favorites. That's why she could say.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna stop Rebecca for a minute, guys, because when Dr. Aurelia got here today, they looked at each other and they stared for a minute, and then Dr. Aurelia started asking questions. Boom, 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 and Rebecca said yes, yes, yes. She said, "Wait a minute," and then they made that connection. So, how long has it been since y'all have seen each other?
Since she graduated. Because she graduated before me.
Yeah.
Wow.
I graduated 26 years ago.
Was she a handful in high school?
Oh, yes.
But in a good way. So she didn't disappoint.
No.
But Dr. Aurelia, because we are champions of education, and especially of educators, we feel that at this point in time, with the administration that we're in right now, that on many levels, educators are not necessarily getting the recognition that they deserve as professionals. And can you tell us a little bit about, first of all, the capacity that you were in with the county, and you were the originator of a certain department within the county. Tell us about that and how you made that leap.
So I came back, I went to Howard. 10 years ago, I moved to Washington, D.C., in the DMV area, to go to Howard to get my PhD. And when I came back, it was during COVID.
Wow.
Right. So I had 2 children up there, didn't know what was really happening, what was going on, had the opportunity to come back to work for juvenile probation as a GED teacher.
Okay.
And I took that opportunity. And then my career path, I thought I really was going to teach college. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, you tell God your plans.
I know.
And so I then went from, a GED teacher to an equity training specialist to then a racial disparities and fairness administrator. I went and I worked for a think tank for a year. I was a senior equity program manager, and then I came back and I took the role of chief equity officer in Harris County.
Okay.
And then with that, I was doing some legislative analysis in the last legislative session.
Okay.
And I was looking at what was happening. I was in these national spaces with other organizations like the NACO and the National League of Cities and
Right,
the Government
right.
Alliance for Race Equity.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, we need to create something that we're going to be able to, it's going to be evergreen, and then we'll be able to inoculate ourselves with what's coming down the pipeline.
Okay.
So it was foresight.
Right.
So I ended up creating the Office of Human and Civil Rights, and I became the Chief of Human and Civil Rights. And, in that time.
For Harris County.
For Harris County.
Yes, yes.
And so in that time, I did the Harris County Equity Guidelines, created a training coalition, we did the civics education, we did a lot of things at
Right.
the time. But all of that to say is that there was this trajectory that I didn't know that I needed to be on,
Okay.
nor that I had a plan for.
Wow.
But my time as an educator over that 13-year span prepared me immensely for county government.
Wow.
Mhm.
Now, you said about 8 things. I counted about 6 things really, really fast. And I didn't want to stop you in the middle of the flow.
Okay.
But when you first came back down and went to work as a GED
Teacher.
teacher
Mhm.
with Harris County, after that, you went into what capacity? Because I'm going to ask you what some of these are.
So then I became an equity training specialist.
Okay, now in Harris County,
Juvenile probation.
okay, so in Harris County, the juvenile probation department, at that point in time, there was already an acknowledgement that there was a disparity in equity.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great thing to have acknowledged in Harris County.
Yeah, well, we had Dr. Larry Brown Jr.
Yes.
We had Dr. Virginia Hicks,
Yes.
who really took me under their wings.
Okay.
And so we were all a part. We were the trio that led the equity committee for juvenile probation.
And how
How did that come about?
Yeah.
So it was out of the equity committee was a part of some work that Dr. Hicks brought in with Brian Marks at Morehouse, I believe.
Okay.
And then it was in response to George Floyd. And so there was a court that was held by the Harris County Commissioners.
Yes.
They came out with these 11 to 12 items called the George Floyd items. Right. And so then there was this pivot of trying to figure out how do we address disparity and the disproportionate impact of Black and brown kids in these systems. And so Henry had the foresight to put the right people in the right place.
Okay, Dr. Aurelia, maybe I'm being the devil's advocate, but I want to ask these questions because I know some of the people who are going to be watching are going to have these questions.
Mhm.
We live in Harris County. It's a quite an urban area,
Mhm.
okay? Especially within the city of Houston. Many people who are in leadership capacity, even in Harris County, know that they recognize that there was this disparity as far as what happens with these kids as they go through the system.
Mhm.
If that is understood already, how is it and why is it that maybe some of those things haven't been addressed on the front end to try to stop the disparity from occurring when before those kids have to feel the wrath of it? Does that make sense?
Well, so I think you have people like Marvin Pierre who had 8 million stories. So when I came into Harris County and what they called the ETC then, Marvin had 8 million and Skyra had 8 million stories there. And so they were, they had positioned themselves to intervene
Okay.
and to prevent. Right, kids recurring in the system, giving
Yes.
them the opportunity to get GEDs, provide
Okay.
them with the setup to do, like once they've gotten their GED, what could they do after? What kind of certification, trade?
So it just wasn't you get your GED and then you go find
No.
your life.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
No, and since then, the
That's good.
Opportunity
Yeah.
Center
Yeah.
has grown. So 8 million stories with Marvin Pierre. Marvin is doing some amazing things out in community,
Yes.
as well as the Opportunity Center has now grown. And shout out to James O. He's the principal now at the Opportunity Center. And they are still providing those kids with the trades and skills and the opportunity. So once they've gotten their GED, then they can go out in the world and actually make themselves some money. right? So to circumvent whatever
Yes.
circumstances are coming from.
Yes.
But I think to further your point is we have to look at this at not only the structural levels, but we also have to look at this at the granular levels too.
Yes.
And I think that's where sometimes we get lost in the sauce.
You know what? Rebecca talks about this all the time, and that is the classroom to prison pipeline. And based on what you've seen it from the classroom all the way up through when when the people are going through parole and probation and coming through Harris County and this kind of thing. What is it that you feel we can do as teachers who are sitting in the classroom right now with those, like for instance, myself, I'm with the 8th graders. They're at that cusp of they can go this way or that way.
They're forking the road.
Yes. Is there anything that we can do outside of the home as the classroom teachers? Because many times we spend more time with those students than their parents do.
Absolutely.
And maybe sometimes not for any fault of the parent,
Right.
because parents have to do what they need to do to provide for that household. But do you think that there's anything that we can do that is fundamental, that is going to be impactful enough to help those kids navigate the correct turn when they come to that place?
When I was in the classroom, I had a different kind of analysis. So when I became a full classroom teacher, my first 2 years was at Yates
Okay.
as a teacher's assistant.
Okay.
And I was under Ron Mumfree and Tawanda Greer, and I learned how to run a tax intervention program.
Okay.
We talked about
When they had tax.
Yeah.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
and then my first year as a fully certified teacher, or the teacher of record,
Right.
was at Sharpstown High School.
Okay.
And then that's when we changed from Saavedra to Greer.
I remember.
And then I was Rift, and then I spent time at Addicts.
Okay.
One of the things that I did when I was in the classroom is I understood how to shift and pivot with my students.
Okay.
So if I had to read to them,
And what did you teach?
I taught English.
Gotcha.
English and special education.
Okay.
So if I had to read to my kids so they could access that information,
Yes.
just going story time.
Right.
Right?
Gotcha.
If I had to bring fresh fruits and vegetables so I can make sure that you had the right thing,
Yes.
thanks, Mom, for funding,
Yes,
right?
yes.
That's what I did. If I needed to build a library in my classroom, because when I was at Addicts Middle School, we didn't have a library,
Right.
right? So if I built a library in my classroom for my kids, that's what I did.
Right.
If I had to take the hit because I knew that something, whatever it was, the intervention, the technique, it was going to get them to move the needle when it came to reading and writing, I
Yes.
was going to have to take that hit,
Yes.
right? And so I think that teachers have a great power in their immediate space,
Okay.
but they also have to be very clear about what implications, right? What are the consequences that are going to come out of that?
Exactly.
And that's where we are right now, right? Because the state, and I'm speaking, and Crystal knows that I think politically more than anything, and I think systems and policies and all of it,
Mhm.
and all the things. So now we're in a state now, and I don't mean in Texas, I mean the educational state that we're in right now. The change that we are able to normally affect is
Yes.
being constrained,
Mhm.
right?
Yes. You're right.
And it's being constrained simply because now the focus is not on the child's well-being. Because any teacher that's been in a classroom any length of time, you understand that a child's holistic needs to be met first before actual academics can take place. You can't ignore one without the other. So, but now everything is strictly focused on academics.
Yes.
Okay, if Johnny doesn't have something to eat, that's not your problem. Johnny needs to understand this paragraph so Johnny can pass this STAR test, right? But Johnny can't pass this STAR test if Johnny is hungry. We don't care about that, right? Because now we're even taking free lunch out of the schools. Now there are 32 schools in HISD that no longer has the free lunch program,
That's right.
right? So we're in and a lot of teachers are complaining about this because now they feel like, now I'm going to school and I feel like for the first time, I'm here only for a paycheck because I cannot affect the change that I want to affect
Right.
and make the difference that I want to make in my students' lives.
Mhm.
So I understand you talked about the pivot, So how do you pivot from accountability? If you paid any attention to Facebook and Instagram today, that's all you saw, teachers celebrating and upset over accountability ratings. How do you pivot from, okay, this is important, but this is also important in such a time as this?
I think that's a very loaded question, and I think that it requires a multitude of responses, right? So one, we're looking at the privatization of education when you talk about HISD. That's what it is. This has been happening over the last 25 years, right? So now you can there are still some policies in place. There's some things that you can do at the state level.
Right.
There are some things that you can do at the school district level.
Right.
But if we're having a granular conversation about individual teachers who want to affect change, some of those teachers may be together to create their own co-op, right? How do you then get into your, if we're going to privatize education, how do we now take that experience, that expertise, come together to create an educational co-op, and now you've created a micro school, right? Now you've created a daycare. So now you're looking at the beginning of the intervention in early childhood education.
Right.
Right. Now you're looking at what do we need to do with reading, math, writing, right? I think that those are some of the things that we can do. And I think that we need to dream more. I think that we're really caught up in, and I get it, everybody got a mortgage, a bill, car note, children, student loans, all the things.
Right.
And at the same time, how do you now break away from the hamster wheel? Because if you're operating from a place of exhaustion, you're not operating from a place of innovation and creativity.
Of
You
course.
can't hold both at the same time.
Exactly.
And so now you may need to, some of us are in a place now with this mass exodus of Black women from workforce, are really creating these spaces for ourselves.
Right.
Right. And so I think it's, how do you get a contract? How do you get together and, get subcontracts?
We talked about that. Yes.
How do you create the infrastructure and the systems for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
How do you now take the leap of faith and divorce yourself from these institutions and structures that have not historically served our folks, our people, and create your own infrastructure and system?
And I'm glad that you went ahead and segued into that, because that's what I really wanted to kind of target in on today. Rebecca, you know this number better than me. In the past 4 years, how many teachers have left the education system here in the Houston area? 10,000 plus?
Well, 41,000 employees. Out of those 41,000 employees, it has been 21,262 teachers.
I mean, just in HISD. We didn't
Just in HISD. And we are not even
are there that many teachers in HISD?
one time within the 3 years. You talking
Okay.
in the
Okay.
3 year time
Oh,
span.
Got you.
The
Okay.
revolving door.
Say that number again.
21,262 teachers.
That's a city.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And I know people be like, well, Rebecca, how you come up with that number? Because it's only like 10,000 plus. I am looking at the revolving
The
door
totality.
in totality. Teachers that were shifted out. I know one teacher was saying, she called me yesterday and said she was the 15th teacher in this particular classroom in a particular high school on the south side of Houston
Since when?
since 2023.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now with things like that in mind, Dr. Aurelia, one thing that you have been able to do is take those skills that many of which you acquired in the classroom and you sharpened and honed in the classroom, and you've been able to take that leap into your own company and entity, and you are showing others how to do the same thing now, because we know this as teachers. We've got our skill set is such that we can impart so much knowledge on so many different levels. To be a teacher, you've got to have a certain amount of patience. To be a teacher, even though some of us are better than others, you've got to have a certain amount of organizational skills.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to present and be able to keep that audience engaged. And
And you have to be a researcher.
And that-
And I gotta be data analyst.
Right.
Yes. And as an organizational strategist, coming from the classroom,
Mhm.
what are some of the steps that you share with teachers who are ready to make that leap of faith?
So teachers are project managers,
Yes.
right? They're program managers. They are trainers, they are developers, they are speakers,
Yes.
right?
Writers.
They are grant writers.
Wow. Yes, they
Right.
are.
And so you have to think about how do you marry your talent, your skills, your passion, and your experiences together.
Okay.
What is the thing that has been calling you?
Yes.
What do you need to answer to? And that's a scary thing.
Yes.
I'm not going to try to sugarcoat this in any kind of way. I
Okay.
walked away from comfort,
Okay.
right,
Yes.
to take a chance on myself, to bet on myself.
Okay.
But I know that
That's scary.
it is scary, but I'm the coldest at what I do.
Yeah. And you gotta have that time. You gotta see yourself in that capacity.
I absolutely have to.
Yes.
So again, teachers, you can, become educational consultants.
Yes.
You can become administrators. You can look at county government, city government, local government. You can create your own, again, your own co-op, your own company. You can open up daycares, right? So Harris County is also looking at a shortfall of daycares, quality daycares.
Wow.
Right? So there's a wait list for kids to get scholarships and
Yes,
opportunities to
yes.
get into early childhood.
Okay.
You could do a home daycare. There's a bunch of information that's listed on the Harris County website at the Department of Economic Equity and Opportunity.
Wow.
You can create your own private school. You can create a micro school. You have to make a decision on what you want to do for yourself, right? If you want to go into the private sector,
Yes.
right? Especially like you're talking about those cake teachers. I know a cosmetology teacher when I
Yes.
first started, and she was like, "Oh, this is my weekend money." Her teaching salary was her weekend money.
What?
She made her real money when
During
she
the
was in a
week?
salon,
Yes.
right? If you're
Oh
one
my
of those
goodness.
auto mechanic teachers,
Yes.
are you going? Can you, seek the proper certifications
Right.
to teach that? There's a whole bunch of pathways. You just have to choose which one works for you.
See, one of the things that I'm strongly playing with the idea with, one of the things that I see that's lacking, right? Some systems policy person. One of the things that I see that's lacking for teachers across the board is teachers do not understand policy as far as it comes to education, the government, and all of it.
Things that affect them.
The things that affect them.
Yeah.
But I'm finding out in my conversations with teachers, because I have become the go-to teacher for all things policy,
Mm-hmm.
So I am figuring out that they do not understand. There's a gap between state government and their careers, which they don't understand that the state government sets the foundation for their careers.
Yes.
Everything you do from your curriculum, for your thing, all of that is government, right? But they don't know how to advocate for themselves, and they don't know how to show up for themselves, right? And then the thing about it is everybody's like, well, they have teachers unions for that, and they do, but I don't think a lot of teachers, well, I know they don't because I was heavily involved in the union. They don't know how to immerse themselves in they still haven't understand that you're the union, and you are the union, and
And you have the power.
you have the power. They just, help you figure it out, pretty much. But there is a disconnect. That's the word I'm trying to use. There's a disconnect between teachers and understanding their rights, understanding basic policy and laws. And I'm going, y'all, we took PPR for this. This is like you. Okay, we studied to pass the test. That's
But I think you're also talking about something that has broader implications. That's not just in education,
Right.
right? You can apply that to society.
Yeah.
right.
There is a gap, right? People really don't understand civics, right? So even at the city level, at the county level, at the state level, what is the difference between state and federal,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So I think that people need to be actively engaged, and I think that you just created an opportunity for yourself to say, okay, now how do I positioned myself to teach policy, to organize people, to mobilize people, to activate people at the granular level in their communities.
Right.
Right. And then be willing to say, what is the risk that I'm willing to mitigate? Because there are going to be consequences with you taking that type of action. They don't want you to know that the power relies in you. Right? That's where the distraction, the destruction comes from.
Right. Because I'm just saying, I mean, and I'm not knocking the teachers. I'm glad that they're seeking out the information. But in my head, I'm just like, what is going on here? Like,
And you know what? I think, Rebecca, you hit on something when you asked that question, and Dr. Aurelia, you hit on something when you came in to talk about this. And in just a minute, we're going to talk about distributive justice and your book. But I want you, because 98% of the people that are going to be watching this in the next couple of days are going to be educators. And unfortunately, many of them are going to be frustrated educators. Okay. And they have something inside of them that they want to say. They have something that they want to offer to the world. They're afraid. They're afraid for their jobs. They're afraid that there may be blowback. They're afraid that that if they do, someone or some higher up where they work will come in to try to squelch that. Can I put you out there for a minute? Rebecca is not with HISD anymore, and she decided that when she left HISD, she didn't necessarily want to go back into the classroom, but she wanted to be a voice and an advocate for those people who were being browbeat in the capacity where they are right now for trying to do the right thing. So, Rebecca, this is I'm so glad that you and Dr. Aurelia actually reconnected, because what she does is you're exactly in that place. You are in that place to, like she said, begin to develop that aspect of your advocacy.
right. Because make no mistake about it. I never saw myself doing this. I saw myself having these conversations with Crystal and Lisa. Yeah, that's another one of my teacher friends. Crystal and Lisa, and that was the end of it. Yeah, like, you know, but it's weighing on me, and it has been weighing on me for so long. Because I'm the go-between, right? Because I understand the government piece. I have a degree in political science. You know, I understand the government piece, but because I also have the experience of the classroom,
Absolutely.
over 15 years of experience in the classroom, like I understand that piece.
You also have the experience of the wrath. Also the wrath of what can happen when you do have a voice.
Right.
And advocate.
And that's the thing. I think teaching provides such a comfortable, if we're just being honest with the situation as educators, teaching provides such a comfortable, you know.
It allowed me to be a mom to my children.
It provides such a comfortable lifestyle. Right? It's like you don't want to rock the boat because the summer's off, holidays off, and you get your pay.
Right.
And, you know, I can go teach these bad, you know, for a couple of hours and big mom and auntie and grandma, and then I go and have my happy hour at 6 o'clock.
Right.
I mean, it provides such a comfort.
People do become comfortable.
And you just you're in the motions. And you look up and you've been in the classroom for 15 years. And you look up, you've been in the classroom for 20, 25 years. Right? But then something like this comes along.
Yes.
And then it's like, whoa.
I think you're hitting on a couple of things. I think you're hitting on alignment. I think that sometimes we listen to our parents say, "You okay? Now you got that good teaching job."
Yes. You don't mess that up.
You got that good government job. You know, we talk about longevity.
Right.
You need to be there. You need to think about retirement. You need to think about your benefits and all of those things.
Yes.
But we also are in a place where people can decide that they don't have to be just one thing for the remainder of their lives.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
You can do multiple things. You can live multiple lifetimes in one lifetime. I think also, Rebecca, you hit on something that's major, which is, you have this place where you know, there's comfort, but you can't have comfort in calling. Darrell Douglas said this to me. He was like, you can't serve two masters.
That's right.
Right? You can't be comfortable and go and chase your calling at the same time.
That's right.
It does sound like the real.
You're gonna have to make a choice, right? And then I also think that there is this browbeating. There is a consequence for being an advocate and a true ally and a
Yes.
voice, right? Because you are saying inherently, I do have power. And you're saying I have power to a system that perpetuates power, right?
Yes.
Perceived power. These are people
Yes.
that are making
Yes.
decisions,
Yes.
right? But you're also talking about insecure, incompetent, incapable people that are making decisions,
Yes.
right? And so if you're coming in secure in yourself
Right.
and you're showing up, now you done went from pet to threat.
That's right. That's right.
I love how you put that.
Yes.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
it's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, but the thing is, let's put a pin in that for just a second. Dr. Aurelia, you decided that regardless of any type of fear, regardless of any type of blowback that you may get, it was time to write this book.
Absolutely.
And this book is called Hijacking Equity. Woo! Okay.
I know. I saw the title. I said,
I know. And the thing about it is, just by looking at the title, some people are going to be offended, and their mouths are going to turn downward, and they're going to say, well, what does she mean? What, equity hijacking? Tell us about the title of the book.
Yeah. So over the last what is this 2026? So we had the House bill in the Texas legislature that basically outlawed DEI in higher education.
Yes.
Right. So anything that promoted identities across varying groups of people
Yes.
were basically dismantled. The same thing at the same time, you had Governor DeSantis in Florida. He was going on this CRT rant, right? People really don't know what critical race theory is.
He doesn't.
Billy
So.
Tate to Derek Bell,
Yeah.
why that was created. And then he, went on this anti-woke campaign, and so woke became this four-letter word, right?
Which again, he knew not to mean.
Right, and so it was exploitation of the culture.
It sure was.
And
Yes.
used against
Yes.
us. Like this is history, right?
Yes.
And so I was watching all of this, and then I was doing the legislative analysis for Harris County. I was looking at explicit and implicit DEI bills, like what was happening.
Okay.
And then I was the Region 7 representative for GARE, it was Texas, Louisiana, New Mexico, Oklahoma. I'm missing someone, and Arkansas.
Uh-huh.
And so I was really paying close attention on what was happening in that legislative space across those 5 states.
Okay.
And so offices were being closed. People were losing their jobs. Language was being weaponized. Some policies were like.
And my cousin was one
snitching
of those
culture.
ones. She would have the same position you had. She was DEI for the Atlanta Fulton County Gwinnett area,
Mhm.
and she had and she came to our office door one morning and couldn't get in.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Someone was feeling threatened.
yeah.
Let's tell it like it is.
yeah. And so I think this book is a response to that. It's for people that are still in the space. So whether you're an educator, you are a current diversity, equity, and inclusion officer, or some
Yes.
variant of that title. If you're an advocate, if you are a community member, if you're someone just really trying to figure out what's happening.
Yes.
So I wrote this as a response. Like one, looking at the legislation, and then I talk about this evolution, right? How do we get to diversity, equity, inclusion in the first place,
Yes.
right?
And what was their need for it?
Why was there a need for it? So I start with Plessy versus Ferguson. And then I come
yes.
and then I
Let's
come
look at
into the
that.
contemporary because I wanted to create this real clear connection of what was happening then and what is happening now.
Right.
And then it's also I present 2 tools that a couple of tools that people can use, but 2 things that I want to come out of this book more than anything, which is distributive justice, which is a theory that says that we have been taught to operate in these either or spaces.
Okay.
It's up or down, it's left or right, it's black and white, it's good or bad. And I'm like, no, we can hold multiple things simultaneously. And distributive justice is my attempt at providing people with language so they can pivot and shift in their particular areas, right? And the second thing is joy. right? So I'm like, we cannot be critical thinking people, innovative, ingenious people, if we are working to the point of depletion and exhaustion. How
Yes.
do we reclaim our joy in this moment in time so we can now refill ourselves? And so one of
Yes.
the things I say in the book is joy is revolutionary, and that joy is a technology, and it is a dedicated spiritual practice. And we have to figure out what that is and how do we adopt and adapt.
Right. And I think that's important simply because, you know, the way the system is set up, the way the societal system is set up,
Mhm.
is that so, you know, and you hear it all over social media, right? All of these people are screaming to the top of their lungs, this cannot be life. I cannot go to work from 9 to 5, 8 to 7
Mhm.
every day
Mhm.
and then come home and I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted.
And suicide rates are
Right, and I'm
skyrocketing.
paying bills, and then I'm doing it all over again. For me to have 2 days to rest, really one full day to rest, and the rest is dedicated to work with my family, and then I'm back at the grind again.
Yeah.
And this is where and now the system is getting tighter because of the economic situation, the inflation, the systemic problems that's going on around the world
Absolutely.
that's trickling down to the United
Yes.
States.
Mhm.
And now we have another layer of that. Then we have instability in our state governments, our local governments, our
Yes.
national government, our world governments. And again, that's affecting all of us
Yeah.
in the society that we live in.
I think COVID took a lid off of things.
In what
Right.
respect?
So for me personally, I needed COVID. I needed that break.
Okay.
I needed to recalibrate.
Mhm.
And I needed to see that I could still survive without having to dedicate 40 hours of my life
Right.
to somebody else's institution week in and week out.
It made you have to become resourceful.
Yes.
Yes.
And it also it was a paradigm shift,
Yeah.
right? That this 9 to 5 day, this 8 to 6, this 7 to 3, whatever this is, like, no, this is
That's a choice. Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say something else. I had got comfortable.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But so it's like I don't really need to dedicate 40 hours
To you.
to you to do this thing.
But Dr. Aurelia, here's the thing. Here's what I know so many teachers are going to be asking. I'm afraid. How do you get past that place of being afraid to take that leap?
So I teach people, what can you do by next Tuesday?
Interesting.
What can you do by next Tuesday? We want to go out and eat the elephant all at
I
one
know,
time.
I
Or go.
Yes.
No. Sit down with yourself and ask yourself the question, I am trying to get from A to Z.
Yes.
What can I do by next Tuesday?
Right.
That's it.
To change my life.
To change my life. Whatever that
Baby
is.
steps.
And it doesn't have to be big and grand. It could be, I'm going to start walking every day by next Tuesday, just to give myself some room to think. I'm going to stop smoking by five packs of cigarettes, or a pack of cigarettes, I don't know how they work, 3 cigarettes a day. For by next Tuesday, I'm going to cut that in half.
Yes.
By next Tuesday, I'm going to, in this relationship, I'm really going to make a decision about whether or not you should be here in my life.
Right.
Come on.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Or whatever that thing is, by next Tuesday, I'm going to read 6 pages in this book. Start doing things small and incrementally.
Yes.
Build up consistency. And then make promises to yourself that you plan on keeping. That's what I've done.
Yes.
Mhm.
And you know, I am going to definitely have one of my friends reach out to you and watch this podcast, because when I tell you that she is a brilliant presenter and ELA teacher, and she has been, she is, I'm not going to say outspoken, but she speaks freely.
Mhm.
She speaks the truth in love. It's not always received that way. Therefore, she's been held back from many leadership positions. And if she's watching right now, she probably knows I'm talking about her. But to see her get overlooked and overlooked and overlooked, she would be a wonderful administrator. But I have sat and I've told her, maybe you're not supposed to be an administrator. Maybe your call and your place is going to be far greater than that.
Mhm.
And she had to sit down and tell me the same thing.
Sometimes, I think there's people that are good at playing the game.
Yes,
Like,
you're
let's
absolutely
call it
right
things
about
that,
that.
right?
Yeah.
This is a game. This is game theory. And some people are really good at it.
That's right.
Some people rely on it because they don't have nothing else.
That's
to
right.
offer,
That's right.
So now you have to figure out where you are in this space. Yesterday I was in this coaching, and my coach asked me, she said, what is one of the things you regret in life? I said that I'm not good at playing the game.
I'm not great at it either, but
I'm
you
not.
know what? I've learned how to get along. What do they call it?
Go along to get
To
along.
go along to get along
Right.
to a certain extent. And then, but the entire time
Mhm.
I'm getting along or I'm going along, I'm planning my strategy.
So I'm a strategist.
I'm planning my strategy. Yes.
But when I'm saying it, it's like, I can see a thing. I'm good at pattern recognition. I
Yeah.
know when something is off. I know when something has changed.
That's right.
I'm very good at that.
Yes.
But I am not good at giving people empty, shallow things for the sake of giving them an empty, shallow thing. So it looks like when I've used all of this energy to make it look like we've done something,
Right.
and I could have used that energy to actually do something.
Right. Right.
And see, and that's me. I step back. For some reason, I can always tell when something is missing
Mm-hmm.
before anybody says anything to me.
Yes.
I'm just like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
That needs to be moved over here.
Right.
No, that needs to not happen, and this needs to happen.
Yeah.
Like I just, because I think systems, right?
Right.
So when I see systems that don't work, but I can move the pieces to where it can work.
Right.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't like that because
They
they
just show that they're incompetent and incapable.
Well, with that in mind, Dr. Aurelia, this is getting ready to happen pretty soon.
Yes, it is.
I'm excited about it because when I got a call about this, and I love the first word, all justice is not going to be something where you're having to carry just a heavy burden all the time. There is joy that goes along with justice. Tell us about what's coming up on, let me get it right now.
September.
What is it? September 21st. I'm trying to make this as big as I can. There we go.
So
Okay.
so on September 21st, we are celebrating a couple of things. One, my 45th birthday.
Happy birthday!
looking like she's
Y'all are so young.
And then I'm celebrating the official release and launch of my book, Hijacking Equity in the Fight for Justice.
Yes.
We're having a fantastic conversation with people of all walks of life at the Match Theater on September 21st at 6 p.m.
Okay.
It is, we will have a networking event. So this is extremely important to me right now when you're talking about exit ramps.
Yes.
How are we putting the right people in the right rooms at the right time?
Yes.
So come and network with us at 6 p.m. We're going to have a fireside chat. The Texas Southern University debate team is going to set the tone and the vibe for the evening because they're going to do a piece on joy. And then
wow.
Sasha Baguette from Black Girl Caucus is going to moderate this conversation.
Yes. And if people want to, are tickets still available? Are you sold out? How would people connect with you in order to get, to be able to get tickets?
So we are actually coming up on the deadline. So
Okay.
at the end, or what is it, August 31st, all of the early bird, the cheaper tickets less expensive tickets are going to be gone.
Yeah.
So you can go to my website at www.aureliajohnson.com and click events, and you can register for the event.
Okay, and we'll put that in. We'll make sure we put that in the chat.
Yes.
Okay. And what if you've got you're going to talk about several things there, and justice being one. If you're a teacher anywhere in Texas, you should be concerned about justice right about now, because justice starts in the classroom. It does. And before any of our kids. And Sasha knows this. I know Sasha. I know, her husband. And I know what they have endured.
Yes.
And I know that you can be a person who is in the right place, doing the right thing, and still things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of thing that we need to know, that there is another side to this. Roshana, there's another side. And I think every time you see him, he has got the biggest smile on his face, regardless of what he's had to endure. because he knows there's another side. So you talk about joy, justice, and leadership. And for the people who are in that place where they're looking for something
Absolutely.
right now, they need to be
Yes.
at this
In the space.
at this
In the
space at this time, because not only will you be there, will you be autographing books for people who
Yes.
purchase?
So if you purchase a ticket, you automatically get a book. We will have, hors d'oeuvres and drinks that will be available. Even if you cannot afford the ticket, let me be very clear about this. I come from rat cheese, right, and summer sausage. Okay.
That was good. With crackers?
Yes,
That's
indeed.
right. on the wax paper?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I come from very humble beginnings.
Yes.
And I'm never going to turn people away. So if you cannot afford the registration and you still want to be a part of this event, you will not get the book. Let me be clear.
Yes.
But you can still come and network. You can still come and have a conversation.
Right.
You're still welcome. I think that this evening is very important because it's leading into two other conversations that are taking place. One that will take place at the Brazos Bookstore on October 14th. And then the conversation is going to take place at Lit Java, which is in Pearland,
Okay.
the day after the midterm elections.
Okay.
So this is really building momentum, conversation, community,
Right.
right, as we prepare ourselves for what is or what is not going to happen in the midterm election.
Exactly.
So we're not being reactive. Now we've positioned ourselves to be proactive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Aurelia, I don't even know where to start. You're going to have to come back because we just scratched the surface.
We did, man.
We just scratched the surface.
Y'all don't understand why this smile has. I haven't seen this girl in years. When I said this is my high school sorority sister,
6 degrees of separation.
oh my God, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud.
Thank you.
Like, I just am like, she was always an inspiration to me, even though she was hard on me online. But she was always an inspiration to me, and I just love you so.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Well, Dr. Aurelia, we're going to make sure that we get all of your contact. Oh, tell us your other contact information. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Mhm.
Any of other ways people can reach out.
Yeah, so all social media is at Aurelia Johnson, PhD.
Okay.
If you would like to work with me, if you want to further this conversation
Yes.
about tactical things that we can do, because we really didn't get into concrete. So
Right.
one, I have something called the Tuesday Transformation Method. What can you do by next Tuesday? The other thing is called the Ready Framework, which is how do we reimagine, educate, define, and innovate language, right?
Yes.
So in these spaces, whether you're trying to survive the space that you're in while you're building your off-ramp, or you're ready to blow the spot up and you're ready to say, what's the next thing?
Yes.
How do we then create pathways for that using that particular framework?
Okay.
And then we have Joyous Strategy.
Okay.
So Joyous Strategy is how do we convene all women of all walks of life, and then create these spaces of our kinfolk, right? So,
Yes.
oh, that's my
Yes.
tribe. I don't really do tribal things.
Yes.
But my kinfolk, these are people that take ownership of me and I take
Yes.
ownership of
Yes.
them.
Yes.
So those are some of the concrete frameworks that we work with.
Well, listen, I'm so glad that you were able to make time to come in
Thank you for having me.
and the next time.
Yes, ma'am.
And we gotta have you back to talk about some of these other things, because especially as it relates to teachers, because so many teachers right now are on the cusp.
Yes.
They want to do something different.
Y'all need to come out September 21st. Come
Please
out
do.
and have a conversation
Please do.
with us, and see who's in the room. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Rebecca. And as we say every week, we can do it.
Bye, guys.
See you later.